Ransomware is a big threat to your business. According to Forrester research, ransomware attacks have increased threefold since 2020. Because of this, it's vital that you can recover quickly and with confidence. Depending on the scope and type of attack, certain recovery techniques may be a better fit than others for your business needs. This video highlights how you can recover from various scenarios using Rubrik to meet your business RTO. While Rubrik can secure many different types of enterprise cloud and SaaS workloads, we've focused this video specifically on virtual machines. As we know, every business is different. Rather than attempt to cover every use case, we opted for a standardized VM sizing and deployed 200 identical VMs. We took backups and ran recoveries using export, instant recovery, InPlace Recovery, and Orchestrated application recovery. Okay, let's get started. An export recovery is the closest thing to a traditional VM recovery solution. We select a point in time and we copy the virtual machine from Rubrik to the hypervisor production storage. Once the copy is complete, the VM can be powered on. Recovering in this way is simple, but as you can imagine, it's also the slowest method of restoring service. A good example of where you might select export recovery is if you've lost your entire primary storage platform, or you are standing up a new environment from scratch in a clean room. With Rubrik, you can run multiple recoveries in parallel, so as you can see, by around the 11-minute mark, all VMs have been recovered, powered on, and are ready for use. Instant recovery has some advantages over an export. Here, the VM is instantiated using the Rubrik platform for storage. As there's no requirement to copy the state of the virtual disks to primary storage, services can be restored much more quickly. Once a virtual machine is up and running, it can be migrated to primary storage without downtime. Let's see how this works out. We'll trigger the live mount recovery to those clean virtual machine snapshots. The first VM is recovered and available for use in just over a minute, and can then be migrated to primary storage using storage vMotion. All virtual machines are up and running in a little over 7 minutes, showing a time saving against export. If the VMs still exist in your environment, you can leverage InPlace Recovery for an even quicker restore. The process is pretty simple. Rubrik shuts down the source VM, takes a snapshot, and uses this to identify the blocks that have changed between now and the recovery point in question. Those blocks are then injected into the powered off virtual machine, which is then powered back up, rolling it back in time. Using this method, we could restore service for all 200 VMs in a little over 4.5 minutes, which I'm sure you'll agree is what you call rapid mass recovery. The final approach leverages our Orchestrated application recovery feature. This uses the concept of blueprints to bundle virtual machines and resource mappings together, with blueprints aligning you to your disaster recovery plan. Once your plan is documented, failing over to the recovery site is as simple as selecting the relevant blueprints and triggering a failover. The last thing you need in the event of a ransomware attack is the overhead of needing to micromanage recovery playbooks. You can even test the failover process without impacting your production workloads, giving you full confidence in your recovery when you need it. Here, we'll fail over to replicated copies of our production machines into our disaster recovery environment. We can either do this replication on demand to keep the storage capacity free in DR, or we can pre-replicate the VMs so the service is restored much more quickly. We'll do the latter, but it's good to have options, as you may want to pre-replicate some workloads and do others on demand. As I said earlier, every business is different. App recovery is controlled in Rubrik Security Cloud. We build recovery blueprints to match your business use cases. Here we've split our 200 virtual machines into 4 blueprints of 50 VMs each, but as I mentioned earlier, we'd recommend that you build these to match your business needs. Spend that time defining your recovery needs up front so that when disaster strikes, you aren't caught unprepared. Blueprints can be executed in parallel, as we're doing here. And using this approach, we were able to recover all 200 virtual machines to a completely separate physical location in a little over 20 minutes. If you need to invoke your DR plan, Rubrik has your back. So to quickly summarise, the export recovery completed in 10 minutes 49 seconds, instant recovery was 7 minutes 15 seconds. If we include the time for the storage migration, that was exactly 15 minutes. InPlace recovery 4 minutes 38, and the orchestrated app recovery, so that's the full site failover, in 20 minutes 32 seconds. So those are a few ways to use Rubrik to bring your business back online after a cyber attack, the loss of a storage array, or even if you need to fail over to another site. Realistically, you might want to mix and match these techniques to meet your needs, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to make this video. Another thing to consider is whether you want to blanket recover everything. The right tool for you will depend on your environment and the scenario. I mentioned earlier the importance of context. Let's talk about some of the other tools that Rubrik Security Cloud provides that could help you out even more by providing you with the information that you need at the time that you need it. Ransomware investigation is a tool that analyses your backup data looking for suspicious activity. If anything suspicious is detected, it'll run a deeper analysis of the snapshot to validate if we see malicious activity. Using this, you can limit the dataset that you need to recover to only that which has been impacted. This might be a few files or a small number of virtual machines. Using this more surgical approach has a few benefits. The first being, as you're only restoring impacted data, you have less data to transfer from backups and you're up and running more quickly. The second is that you're not going to lose any data that's been written since the recovery point, unlike if you were to roll back the entire virtual machine or fleet of VMs. In the event of a cyber attack, you may be subject to regulatory compliance that demands mandatory reporting. In this situation, knowing where your sensitive data resides is critical. Straight from ransomware investigation, we can click through and see which sensitive data may have been affected. You could obviously use this capability to secure your data even before an attack. The third component that can help is threat hunting. If you've identified a strain of malware, or even if you just have concerns about a new attack being present in your systems, threat hunting hunts through your backup data to identify not only if an indicator of compromise is present in your most recent backups, but also when it was first seen. This can help to shortcut the selection of a clean recovery point so you can recover without needing to worry about restoring the malware and reinfecting your environment. Without this, you're probably looking at recovering multiple points in time for digital forensics and the time lost to scanning those recovered VMs for malware. When your business is down, this is time you can ill afford. Tying this all together is the recently launched Data Security Command Center. This analyses your environment and shows you what your security posture looks like compared to the wider industry. It also provides you with actionable insights that can improve your security posture and help to reduce risk. To learn more, visit Rubrik.com or speak to your Rubrik representative.